Page, page 77. For Trishul, I was looking for a man who not only had a sound knowledge of electronics and missile warfare, but who could also communicate the complexities to his team in order to promote understanding and to earn his team's support. I found in CMDE SR Mohan, who sailed into defense R&D from the Indian Navy, a talent for detail and an almost magical power of persuasion. For Agni, my dream project, I needed somebody who would tolerate my occasional meddling in the running of this project. In R.N. Agarwal, I found the right person. He was an alumnus of MIT with a brilliant academic record and had been managing the aeronautical test facilities at DRDL with keen professional acumen. Due to technological complexities, Akash and Nag were then considered missiles of the future. Their activities were expected to peak about half a decade later. Therefore, I selected the relatively young Prahalad and NR Iyer for Akash and Nag. Two young men, VK Saraswat and AK Kapoor, were made deputies to Sundaram and Mohan respectively. In
Excuse
those days,
me,
yeah.
which page, ma'am?
Page number 77.
In yellow block number
In
70,
yeah, yellow block is 77.
77. Which line?
Uh, Second page, like
Second
stewards. Yeah, second.
T works. Wait a minute. Mm.
In PDF number 86.
In PDF number 86.
86, yes. For Trishul, it's starting. Can you see the
Wait,
next second page?
wait a minute, ma'am. In my PDF number, how yellow blocks number have it
Yellow block number is 77.
77.
Yes.
What was the line, ma'am?
For Trishul, it will
Ah,
start.
yes, I got it.
Okay.
For Trishul.
You want me to start from the first?
No, ma'am, continue.
Okay,
I'll
I'm
uh,
in the fourth paragraph.
fourth paragraph.
In
Okay,
those
ma'am.
days,
Okay, ma'am. I got it.
yeah.
Thank you.
In those days, there was no forum in DRDL where issues of general importance could be openly discussed and decisions debated. Scientists, it must be remembered, are basically emotional people. Once they stumble, it is difficult for them to pull themselves together. Setbacks and disappointments have always been and always will be an inherent part of any career, even one in science. However, I did not want any of my scientists to face disappointments alone. I also wanted to ensure that none of them set their goals when they were at low ebb. To avoid such eventualities, a science council was created, a sort of panchayat where the community would sit together and take common decisions. Every 3 months, all scientists, juniors and seniors, veterans and freshers would sit together and let off steam. This very meeting of the council was eventful. After a spell of half-hearted enquiries and expressions of doubt, one senior scientist, M.N. Rao, shot a straight question. On what basis did you select these five Pandavas? He meant the project directors. I was in fact expecting this question. I wanted to tell him I found all these five Pandavas married to Draupadi of positive thinking. Instead, I told Rao to wait and see. I had chosen them to take charge of a long term program where new storms would arise every day. Every tomorrow, I told Rao, will give opportunities to these enthusiastic people, the Agarwals, the Prahalads, Iyer, and Saraswats, to gain a fresh perspective on their goals and a strong hold on their commitments. What makes a productive leader? In my opinion, a productive leader must be very competent in staffing. He should continually introduce new blood into the organization. He must be adept at dealing with problems and new concepts. The problems encountered by an R&D organization typically involve trade-offs among a wide variety of known and unknown parameters. Skill in handling these complex entities is important in achieving high productivity. The leader must be capable of instilling enthusiasm in his team. He should give appropriate credit where it is due, praise publicly but criticize privately. One of the most difficult questions came from a young scientist. How are you going to stop these projects from going to the devil way? I explained him the philosophy behind IGMDP. It begins with design and ends in deployment. The participation of the production centers and agencies right from the design stage had been ensured, and there was no question of going back till the missile system had been successfully deployed in the battlefield. While the process of forming teams and organizing work was going on, I found that space available at DRDL was grossly inadequate to meet the enhanced requirements of IGMDP. Some of the facilities would have to be located at nearby site. The missile integration and checkout facility built during the Devil phase consisted only of a 120 square meter shed thick populated with pigeons. Where was the space and the facility to integrate the five missiles which would arrive here shortly? The environmental test facility and the avionics laboratory were equally cramped and ill equipped. I visited the nearby Imarat Khancha area. It used to be the test range for anti tank missiles developed by DRDL decades ago. The terrain was barren, there were hardly any trees and dotted with large boulders typical of the Deccan Plateau. I felt as if there was some tremendous energy trapped in these stones. I decided to locate the integration and check out facilities needed for the missile projects here. For the next 3 years, this became my mission. We drew a proposal to establish a model high technology research center with very advanced technical facilities like inertial instrumentation laboratory, full scale environmental and electronic warfare EMI/EMC test facilities, a composites production center, high enthalpy facility, and a state of the art missile integration and checkout center. By any standards, this was gigantic task. And altogether different brand of expertise, grit and determination were required to realize these projects. Goals and objectives had already been decided upon. Now they had to be shared with large number of people from various agencies through the problem solving and communication processes that the leader of the team must build and maintain. Who would be the most suitable person to do so? I saw almost all the required leadership qualities in MB Suryakanta Rao. Then, as the large number of agencies would participate in the creation of Research Center Imarat RCI, someone had to protect hierarchical sensitivities. I selected Krishna Mohan, who was in his mid 30s, to complement Suryakanta Rao, who was in his late 50s at that time. Krishna Mohan would encourage the involvement rather than relying on obedience and monitoring people at their workplace. According to the established procedure, we approached the Military Engineering Services MES for the RCI construction work. They said it would take 5 years to complete the task. The matter was discussed in depth. at the highest level in the Ministry of Defense, and a landmark decision to entrust the responsibility of building defense structures to an outside construction company was taken. We liaised with the Survey of India and the National Remote Sensing Agency for the inspection of the contour maps and for obtaining aerial photographs of the Imrat Kancha to prepare a layout for the approach roads and the location of the facilities. The Central Groundwater Board identified 20 locations amid the rocks to tap water. Infrastructure to provide 40 MVA power and 5 million liters of water per day was planned. It was also at this time COL SK Salwan, a mechanical engineer with boundless energy, joined us. In the final phase of construction, Salwan discovered an ancient place of worship among the boulders. It seemed to me that this place was blessed. Now that we have started working on the design of the missile systems and development had already commenced for the integration and checkout, the next logical step was to look for a suitable site for the missile flight trials. With SHAR also in Andhra Pradesh, the search for a suitable site spread towards the eastern coastline and finally ended at Balasore in Orissa. A site along the northeastern coast was identified for a national test range. Unfortunately, the entire project ran into rough weather because of the political issues raised around the evacuation of people living in that area. We decided, therefore, to create an interim infrastructure adjacent to the Proof Experimental Establishment PXE in Chandipur in Balasore district of Orissa. A funding of rupees 30 crores had been given to construct the range called the Interim Test Range ITR. Dr. H.S. Ramarao and his team did an excellent job of working out innovative and cost effective specifications for electro optical tracking instruments, a tracking telescope system, and instrumentation tracking radar. Lt. Gen. R.S. Deswal and Major General K.N. Singh took charge of creating the launch pad and range infrastructure. There was a beautiful bird sanctuary in Chandipur. I asked the engineers to design the test range without disturbing it. Creating the RCI was perhaps the most satisfying experience of my life. Developing this center of excellence of missile technology was akin to the joy of a potter shaping artifacts of lasting beauty from the mundane clay. Defense Minister R. Venkataraman visited DRDL in September 1983 to apprise himself of the activities of IGMDP. He advised us to list all the resources we needed to achieve our goals, overlooking nothing, and then include in the list our own positive imagination and faith. What you imagine is what will transpire. What you believe is what you will achieve, he said. Both Dr. Arunachalam and I saw the horizon endless possibilities stretching out before IGMDP, and our enthusiasm proved infectious. We were excited and encouraged to see the best professionals in the country gravitating towards IGMDP. Who would not want to associate with the winner? The word has evidently got around that the IGMDP was a born winner. Number 12, workers. We were at a meeting laying down the targets for 1984 when news came from Dr. Brahm Prakash's death on the evening of 3rd January at Bombay. It was a great emotional loss for me, for I had the privilege of working under him during the most challenging period of my career. His compassion and humility were exemplary. His healing touch on the day of the failed SLV E1 flight surfaced in my memory, serving to deepen my sorrow. If Professor Sarabhai was the creator of BSSC, Dr. Brahm Prakash was the executor. He had nurtured the institution when it most needed nourishment. Dr. Brahm Prakash played a very important role in shaping my leadership skills. In fact, my association with him was a turning point in my life. His humility mellowed me and helped me discard my aggressive approach. His humility did not consist merely in being modest about his talents or virtues, but in respecting the dignity of all those who worked under him, in recognizing the fact that no one is infallible, not even the leader. He was an intellectual giant with a frail constitution. He had a childlike innocence, and I always considered him a saint among scientists. During this period of renaissance at DRDL, an altitude control system and an onboard computer developed by P. Banerjee, R.V. Ramanasai, and their team was almost ready. The success of this effort was very vital for any indigenous missile development program. All the same, we had to have a missile to test the important system. After many brainstorming sessions, we decided to improvise a devil missile to test the system. A devil missile was disassembled, many modifications made, extensive subsystem testing was done, and the missile checkout system was reconfigured. After installing a makeshift launch, the modified and extended range Devil missile was fired on 26th June 1984 to flight test and the first indigenous strap down inertial guidance system. The system met all the requirements. This was the first and very significant step in the history of Indian missile development, which had so far been restricted to reverse engineering towards designing our own system. A long denied opportunity was last utilized by missile scientists at DRDL. The message was loud and clear. We could do it. It did not take long for the message to reach Delhi. Prime Minister Indira Gandhi expressed her desire to personally apprise herself of the progress of the IGMDP. The entire organization was filled with an aura of excitement. On 19 July 1984, Srimati Gandhi visited DRDL. Prime Minister Indira Gandhi was a person with a tremendous sense of pride in herself, in her work, and in her country. I deemed it an honor to receive her at DRDL as she had instilled some of her own pride into my otherwise modest frame of mind. She was immensely conscious that she was the leader of 800 million people. Every step, every gesture, every movement of her hands was optimized. The esteem in which she held our work in the field of the guided missiles boosted our morale immensely. During the 1 hour that she spent at DRDL, she covered wide ranging aspects of IGMDP from flight system plans to multiple development laboratories. In the end, she addressed the 2000 strong DRDL community. She asked for the schedules of the flight system that we were working on. When are you going to flight the test, Prithvi? Srimati Gandhi asked. I said 1987. She immediately responded, let me know what is needed to accelerate the flight schedule. She wanted scientific and technological result fast. Your fast pace of work is the hope of the entire nation, she said. She also told me that the emphasis of the IGMDP should be not only on schedule but also on the pursuance of excellence. No matter what you achieve, you should never be completely satisfied and should always be searching for ways to prove yourself, she added. Within a month, she demonstrated her interest and support by sending the newly appointed Defense Minister S.B. Chavan to review our projects. Srimati Gandhi's follow up approach was not only impressive, it was effective too. Today, everyone associated with aerospace research in our country knows that excellence is synonymous with IGMDP. We had our homegrown but effective management techniques. One such technique was concerned with follow up of project activities. It basically consisted of analyzing the technical as well as procedural applicability of a possible solution, testing it with the work centers, discussing it with the general body of associates, and implementing it after enlisting everybody's support. A large number of original ideas sprung up from the grassroots level of participating work centers. If you were to ask me to indicate the single most important managerial tactic in this successful program, I would point to the proactive follow up. Through follow up on the work done at different laboratories on design, planning, support services, and by inspection agencies and academic institutions, rapid progress has been achieved in the most harmonious manner. In fact, the work code in the Guided Missile Program Office was if you need to write a letter to a work center, send a fax. If you need to send a telex or fax, telephone, and if the need arises for telephonic discussions, visit the place personally. The power of this approach came to light when Dr. Arunachalam conducted a comprehensive status review of IGMDP on 27 September 1984. Experts from DRDO laboratories, ISRO academic institutions, and production agencies gathered to critically review the progress made and problems faced in the first year of implementation. Major decisions like the creation of facilities at Imarat Kancha and the establishment of a test facility were crystallized during the review. The future infrastructure at the Imarat Kancha was given the name of Research Center Imarat RCI, retaining the original identity of the place. It was a pleasure to find an old acquaintance, TN Session, on the review board. Between the SLV3 and now, we had developed a mutual affection. However, this time, as the Defense Secretary, Sessions' queries about the schedules and viability of financial propositions presented were much more pointed. Session is the person who enjoys verbally bringing advisories to the knees. Using his sharp edged humor, Session would make his opponents look ridiculous. Although he is prone to be loud and can turn argumentative on occasions, in the end, he would always ensure maximization of all available resources towards a solution that was within implementation. At a personal level, Session is a very kind hearted and considerate person. My team was particularly pleased to answer his questions about the advanced technology employed in IGMDP. I still remember his uncanny curiosity about the indigenous development of carbon carbon composites. And to let you into a small secret, Session is perhaps only person in the world who enjoys calling me by my full name, which contains 31 letters and 5 words. Aul Pakir Jainulabuddin Abdul Kalam. The missile program had been pursued concurrently and had partners in design, development, and production from 12 academic institutions and 30 laboratories from DRDO. The Council of Scientific and Industrial Research CSIR, ISRO, and Industry. In fact, more than 50 professors and 100 research scholars worked on missile related problems in the laboratories of their respective institutes. The quality of work achieved through this partnership in that 1 year had given me tremendous confidence and confidence that any development task could be undertaken within the country so long as we have our focus schedules. 4 months before this review, I think it was during April June 1984, six of us in the missile program visited academic campuses and enlisted promising young graduates. We presented an outline of the missile program before the professors and aspiring students, about 350 of them, and requested them to participate. I informed the reviewers that we're expecting around 300 young engineers to join our laboratories. Rodham Narasimha, then director of the National Aeronautical Laboratory, used the occasion of this review to put up a strong case for technology initiative. I think Chandrasekhar joined now. Do you want the page number?
Yes, ma'am, please, ma'am.
It's 81 in the yellow dot.
Okay.
Page number 81. First page, last paragraph. It's done. Now we are going to the next page. Workers' side. Shall I start?
Yes, ma'am. You can start.
Okay. Rodam Narasimha, then director of the National Aeronautical Laboratory, used the occasion of this review to put up a strong case for technology initiative. He cited the experiences of Green Revolution, which had demonstrated beyond doubt that if the goals were clear, there there was enough talent available in the country to tackle major technological challenges. When India carried out its first nuclear explosion for peaceful purposes, we declared ourselves the sixth country in the world to explode a nuclear device. When we launched SLV 3, we were the fifth country to achieve the satellite launch capability. We were going to be the first or second country in the world to achieve a technological feat. I listened carefully to the review members as they aired their opinions and doubts, and I learned from their collective wisdom. It was indeed a great education for me. Ironically, all through school, we were taught to read, write, and speak, but never to listen. And the situation remains much the same today. Traditionally, Indian scientists have been very good speakers but have inadequately developed listening skills. We made a resolution to be attentive listeners. Our engineering structures not built on the foundation of functional utility? Does technical know-how not from form its bricks? And are these bricks not put together with mortar and constructive criticism? The foundation had been laid, the bricks baked, and now the mortar to cement, our act together was being mixed. We were working on the action plan that emerged from the earlier month's review when the news of Srimati Indira Gandhi's assassination broke. This was followed by the news of widespread violence and riots. A curfew has been imposed in Hyderabad city. We rolled up the PERT charts and a city map was spread out over the table to organize transport and safe passage for all employees. In less than an hour, the laboratory wore a deserted look. I was left sitting alone in my office. The circumstances of Srimati Indira Gandhi's death were very ominous. The memories of her visit barely 3 months ago further deepened my pain. Why should great people meet with such horrific ends? I recollected my father telling someone in a similar context. Good and bad people live together under the sun as the black thread and the white are woven together in a cloth. When either one of the black or white thread breaks, the weaver shall look into the whole cloth, and he shall examine the loom also. When I drove out of the laboratory, there was not a single soul on the road. I kept thinking about the loom of the broken thread. Srimati Gandhi's death was a tremendous loss to the scientific community. She had given impetus to scientific research in the country. But India is a very resilient nation. It gradually absorbed the shock of Srimati Gandhi's assassination, although at the cost of thousands of lives at a colossal loss of property. Her son Rajiv Gandhi took over as the new Prime Minister of India. He went to the polls and obtained a mandate from the people to carry forward the politics of Mrs. Gandhi, the integrated guided missile development program being part of them. By the summer of 1985, all the groundwork has been completed for building the Missile Technology Research Center at Imarat Kancha. Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi laid the foundation stone of the research center Imarat on 3rd August 1985. He appeared very pleased with the progress made. There was a childlike curiosity in him which was very engaging. The grit and determination displayed by his mother when she visited us a year ago was also present in him, although with a small difference. Madam Gandhi was a taskmaster, whereas Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi used his charisma to achieve his ends. He told the DRDL family that he realized the hardships faced by Indian scientists and expressed his gratitude towards those who prefer to stay back and work in their motherland rather than go abroad for comfortable careers. He said that nobody could concentrate on work of this type unless he was free from the trivialities of daily life and assured us that whatever necessary would be done to make scientists live more comfortable. Within a week of his visit, I left for USA with Dr. Arunachalam on an invitation from the United States Air Force. Rodham Narasimha of National Aeronautical Laboratory and K.K. Ganapati of HAL accompanied us. After finishing our work at the Pentagon in Washington, we landed in San Francisco on our way to Los Angeles to visit Northrop Corporation. I utilized this opportunity to visit the Crystal Cathedral built by my favorite author Robert Schuller. I was amazed by the sheer beauty of this all glass, four pointed, star shaped structure that is more than 400 feet from one point to another. The glass roof, which is 100 feet longer than a football field, seemed to float in space. The cathedral has been built at the cost of several million dollars through donations organized by Scala. God can do tremendous things through the person who doesn't care about you gets credit. The ego involved must go, writes Scala. Before God trusts you with success, you have to prove yourself humble enough to handle the big prize. I pray to God in Scholars Church to help me build a research center at Imarat Kancha that would be my crystal cathedral. Ma'am, shall I stop here or shall I continue with the 13th? Next.
How big is the next thing? Otherwise, you can stop and we can have a discussion and close the meeting.
Yeah, it's a big one, ma'am.
Okay,
It's
then
like
we'll
4 to
stop it.
5 pages. Yeah.
So, Taranjit, Chandrasekhar, Priya, what is your takeaway on today's reading? I just logged in, so I don't have any takeaway.
Ma'am, I heard this quotation where Abdul Kalam ji father said, "Good people and bad people live together under the sun, as the black thread and the white are woven together in a cloth." Can you explain more about this quotation, ma'am? Thought, please. Oh, ma'am. Hello.
Yeah, one second. Good and bad people live together under the sun, as black thread and white thread are woven through a cloth. When either one of the black or white thread breaks, the weaver shall look into the whole cloth. Yeah, it's like we are all the same people living under the same roof, like sun. We are living under the sun. So sun is like a cloth. So in that there are two different threads, white and black. If one is going bad, we have to look at the whole cloth and examine what is wrong. So that is what is explained. I think
Oh,
that's
sir.
what is there.
Yes,
I would
no,
like to add to this, Priya.
Ma'am?
It is also that good people and bad people coexist. They are there together. And when either a good person dies, as yes, uh, explained about other people also, those who died before, and there was all the goodness went away with them, and they had to face many difficulties after that, like how Professor Sarabhai passed away, then Professor Dhawan passed away. So they had a lot of difficulties because of the changing bureaucracy. So same was with Mrs. Gandhi. When she passed away, so many good things went away with her. The white represents good things, and the black represents black bad things. So he says that we have to go back and look at the loom. That means again we have to start weaving right from the basics. Like whenever a thread is broken in a cloth, so again we have to start weaving it. So they are, and then they have to look at the loom. So where did it went wrong? How did it go? So again you have to start weaving the cloth. This is what is the essence of this sentence. Hello.
yes, thank you, Didi.
I hope so. Uh, I could clarify your doubt.
Yeah,
Yes,
very nicely I've explained.
No, because I
uh,
haven't heard it, I can't respond. I'm just debating, depending on you people to this thing each other's doubts, answer each other's doubts. Yeah. So, Taranjit, what's your takeaway today?
First thing, congratulations, Priya. You read so well at a very calm pace. Like I love reading that way, hearing also that way. It's really very nice.
Thank
Though I think so, it's your first time, but you read well, dear. Very nice.
thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
My take on this would be again and again, Dr. Kalam has said about the leadership qualities. No, if it is very difficult, I would again repeat the same thing. It is very difficult to criticize, but to praise, it takes a whole lot of effort. He has said also at one place you should praise in public and criticize personally, because this is the essence of a good leader. When Dr. Dhawan passed away, what he has said, he missed his leadership qualities that were built in him. See, it is said Rome was not built in a day. So the leaders at top, the good leaders, I would say, they have to have many, they have to be baked in the clay oven to come out so strong and so good. So Dr. Kalam has really given credit to all the mentors he had in his life, and how the nitty gritty things he learned from his juniors also. So this is a very good quality of a leader, that he learns right from the juniors to the seniors. and his seniors also took very good care of him. Like yesterday, what we read in that Dr. Arunachalam, he had to go to his niece's wedding, and how his work was, like how smoothly he was sent over after finishing the work, because work was a priority. And how the minister Venkataraman, how Minister of State, how he chose Kalam, it was such a secretive decision. So good leaders are really very hard to find, and they have these qualities to pull up their people, the people, those who they can recognize how this one more quote was there. On what basis have you chosen this Pandavas? So it is, you have to have a very minute eye to observe all the details. Whenever we choose a person for a very good or great project, we have to not only look at his good qualities, but at his flaws also. That if this goes wrong, then what? And scientific research is a very, very prestigious issue for the country. So this is what I learned, that being a good leader is really, you have to be tough as well as soft on the same level. This is what I have learned reading this book.
Wonderful, Taranjit. Wonderful, Taranjit. What about you, Priya?
For me, ma'am, the last word. Before God trusts you with success, you have to prove yourself humble enough to handle the big prize. So
Yes.
this word is actually very true, very, very true. Like we all should follow in life.
Good. Lovely,
Like if you
lovely,
want to be
lovely.
success, you must prove yourself to be more humble, and only then you will get you after receiving that also. How your mindset should be. You should be down to earth all the time. That's what it means. So whatever you
Good.
have, a big one or small one, you have to be down to earth.
Yes. I think it's a lesson all of us have to learn, no?
Exactly, ma'am.
Seriously. And yes, that's what we have to learn again and again and again. And God is
Ma'am,
sending it from so many these things. Yes, Chandrasekhar.
I have a doubt. Like when Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, she gave an emergency call to nation in 1975. That is a bad incident. Whole country had a good incident when she gave
Okay, okay. So
emergency.
what happens is there's something you have to understand, Chandrasekhar. There's no completely good person, there's no completely bad person. So she did take some decisions which were completely against the. She took decisions which, with a lot of, where nobody could question her.
Yes, ma'am.
So she was not a completely straightforward leader, but she was one extremely tough lady.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. But like on that decision makes some on the whole country like a fight against to Indira Gandhi. This is a bad
Yes,
decision. How yes, ma'am. That and they give so many bad thoughts and bad negative everything. Give Indira Gandhi make a decision. It is the whole thing. Whole country fight against her that time.
yes. That was like, so she thought she can control everybody, and then everybody proved her wrong. Everybody
Yes.
proved her wrong. So thanks to that, there's so many new parties came into way. Otherwise, it was only one or two parties. So
Yes, ma'am.
she created problems for herself.
Yes, ma'am. But she is like one lady. She ruled our country 16 years continuously. She is an inspiration for also our young generation who are there now present here for women. She is the
Uh,
inspiration because she ruled 16 years in our country.
yes, yes, yes. She held on to power very, very strongly. Yeah. So anyway,
Even though
thank you.
I'm not a very big supporter of Mrs. Gandhi, but I really admire two things in her. Like if you could search some speeches, Chandrasekhar, if you can search some speeches of her on YouTube, One very good thing that I learned from her was that she never read. She never read. Whatever she had to speak, she spoke from her heart, from her knowledge, even though she was not given formal education. But then also, whatever she spoke was from her heart. Her intellectual was very high.
Chandrasekhar left, Saranjeev.
Okay, it's okay.
No, no, he's back. He's back.
Some technical issue. So this is one thing about her which I like very much. She spoke from the heart. Even though she was not a good leader, what I would say, I still remember. But then it is always said that sometimes you need to be tough. The green revolution that she brought, the white revolution, the milk revolution, India was insufficient at that time in 75. I still remember as a child. So it was a very difficult period. Definitely, it was a difficult period. Like so many people being just held to ransom. I would say it was that. But definitely, as it is said in that white and black cloth, black thread, what we were talking about, Chandrasekhar, that white part also needs to be seen about her.
Yes, Didi. Actually, that's a good thought. I recall it again and again. What a good sentence that Abdul Kalam ji father said. No, the sentence: "Good and bad people live under the sun."
Definitely. And some things are there, like you cannot just say a person is 100% wrong. It cannot happen that way. Some good attributes are always there.
Didi. Yes.
Call it a day.
Nope. Yes, please. Yes, please. Thank you so much.
Good night.
It
Thank
was
you.
a lovely discussion. Good night.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
ma'am. Thank you,
Thank
Didi.
you.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye.